How is everybody doing? It is your main man ManiZach, and today is the day before Valentine's Day, and when the video comes out. So to get into the spirit for the whole occasion and everything, I thought it'd be a good idea to rank most of the Cobra Kai couples. So this is only going to be really couples that we've actually seen be together. So previous couples that became estranged, such as Miguel's father and Carmen, will not be included, and some couples that you just hardly ever see anything of, like Stingray's girlfriend at the party and Aisha's parents, who we just don't see a lot of or mention couples, will probably not be included in this. But there are still quite a few. It's just that we'd be here all day if we went through every past and previous couple as well as the main ones that are in the show. Well, without further ado, I'm going to get onto it and show you guys the tier list. So hopefully guys, you can see the tier list, which is the exact same format that I did for the All Valley Champions tier list in Cobra Kai. A lot of the people that watched it said they enjoyed it and found it entertaining, so I thought it'd be a cool idea just to do this for the sake of Valentine's Day. And it's an excuse to try out doing some more tier lists to see if you guys enjoy this type of video. So the first couple that shows up on here to the left is Johnny and Carmen, which is kind of an on-off since season 2 Cobra Kai, but I'd say they were pretty solid by the time they got through season 3 and Miguel's injury was over. There were times where they had their ups and downs, but I would definitely say they're at the commitment level. They're not yet married, and they definitely would be there for each other, but with season 6 coming up and with everything going on, you don't know what could change. And you also, since Carmen has already been married before and divorced, there's no guarantee that something isn't going to happen between them that will be worse. Although they have got a baby on the way, so I'm actually going to forget what I just said. I'm going to put them into true tier because they now have a baby on the way, and they've stayed together since season 3, so I personally believe that they are here for the long term, and that Johnny is not going to break up with Carmen, since he's already changed his life and become a lot more responsible as a person in preparation for the baby. So commitment here. The second relationship, and I've only got a picture of Cheyenne because there were just no images that were downloadable of Silver and Cheyenne together, and I couldn't be bothered to go into a YouTube video because it's getting late and I haven't had dinner yet. But Cheyenne and Silver, we barely see them. I've made a few couples on this list that will be kind of couples you don't really see a lot of, just so that there's a bit more variation in there, but I haven't done it for all of them because it would just take too long. But Cheyenne and Silver, I don't want to put them on Y because I can see potentially why Silver, or I can see why they both wanted to be with each other, but I definitely don't think this was a true committed relationship, because within a few weeks or a few days, however long it was between Kreese visiting the first time and the second time, him and Cheyenne just weren't together anymore. I think the day after her app launch party, he just never saw her again. We never saw Cheyenne again in the season. So for that reason, I'm just putting why. Why were they even really together? Was it just because he was lonely and he needed people in his life to look like he's a man of status? Or what? Anyway, moving on quickly, we have Daniel and Amanda, and they're going straight to true tier because they've been together, they haven't broken up, despite having their ups and downs. And in season 5, when Amanda went away, obviously the relationship was on the ropes, and that was due to Silver. However, when it really matters, they are always there for each other. They've raised a family together, and they've achieved the entire LaRusso Auto and built this intergenerational wealth together, which, if that isn't true love and if that isn't testament of a great relationship, I don't know what is. Then we have Hawk and Moon. For this one, I'm going to do an average of the first relationship and the second relationship, because really you could have two separate Hawk and Moon relationships. The season 2 relationship, when Hawk was still under the influence of Cobra Kai and No Mercy, and Kreese was even starting to infiltrate through, and the other Hawk and Eli type of relationship, in which, not Hawk and Eli, Moon and Eli relationship, in which Hawk is now kind of, his mohawk got cut off, he's now going by the name of Eli rather than just Hawk, and he's now realized that it's not always too cool to just show no mercy and be a bully, but you can be strong and you can be a good fighter without having to be a bully and without having to put other people down. So I'd say their first relationship was kind of at the standard / commitment level. However, and the second relationship was definitely commitment level. It's definitely not been going long enough for me to definitely define it as true yet. But their relationship became toxic / unmutual by the end, because they, Hawk being angry all the time, beating up Dimitri over a Yelp review, definitely clashed with a lot of the ideology of Moon. And therefore, I'm going to put them in standard as an average of the two relationships. Their first relationship didn't end well, but their second relationship definitely just rekindled the love that they did have when they were together the first time round, and is building on that. And again, this is just a picture of Graham. If you don't remember who he is, he was the random British guy that Carmen was with when Johnny felt like he was kind of in love with Carmen, and he also beat her up at the back of the restaurant. But again, there were no pictures in JPEG or downloadable format for me to use for this list, so you're going to have to settle for an image of him being held up by Johnny, because Johnny found out that he was going to drop her, and that, do you remember when Graham said all the horrible things about Carmen, and he said, "Do you fancy her, mate? And I'll ghost or disappear." But I'm going to put them in a toxic, unmutual relationship because it was never genuine from the beginning. Graham was really only dating her to get what he could get in the short term, but he was never going to commit. And it just wasn't a standard relationship because it didn't start early on, like how a conventional relationship would. I don't know the whole ins and outs of it. I know they met on an app. But apart from that, I don't really know. But I'm going to say toxic and mutual because of the way he actually was secretly behind closed doors. It seemed standard at surface value, but it actually was not as nice and as innocent as it looked. The next relationship is Kyla and Sam, and obviously they got together because of the pool party in season 1, because Yasmin and Moon convinced Sam to be throwing the party, hosting the party, because it's a lot more fun. And then Yasmin mentioned to her, "And Kyla has been eye-banging you all day." But obviously Kyla, just again, he wanted Sam to do a lot more things for him that she probably wasn't ready to do, especially in public, and then made up rumours about her because she wasn't willing to do that for him. So for that reason, I'm going to call it a toxic and mutual relationship. Kyla just isn't a very good person anyway, so therefore it deserves to be a toxic and mutual relationship. It definitely isn't a relationship that was going to last very long. I think it didn't even last a month. It was just before Miguel got to school, and it ended just before the school fight with Kyla versus Miguel. Not the big one in season 2, but in season 1 when Miguel beats up Kyla and becomes popular. This next one, I'm actually going to do Sam and Miguel before I do Tori and Miguel, because I feel like it's easier to build upon the breakup between Sam and Miguel. But Sam and Miguel was definitely a relationship that Miguel really wanted to happen. It was a dream of his, and he always wanted to be with her, kind of, because when he first went to the school, he was staring at her and didn't realise she was with Kyla, and Cobra Kai helped him to get that girl, and Johnny's advice and coaching helped him and her to get together. He definitely helped Sam get back out there and get back into dating. But again, with Eli and Moon, it's kind of, you could have two separate relationships. The first relationship, in which it's good in season 1, but then when Miguel gets drunk and Sam doesn't contact him all day and he's suspicious of Robbie, it doesn't end well. And then Sam also hearing the problems with Cobra Kai from Daniel, her father, who's saying Cobra Kai's bad and you've got to be careful. This kind of relationship doesn't end well, and I'd probably put it at best at standard. The next relationship ends because Sam just decides after him going to Mexico that she's not ready for them to get back together. And then they get back together again, so they've really been on and off 3 times, Sam and Miguel. But on the average, on the whole, I'd be tempted to put them in the commitment tier, because even in season 1, when it wasn't the best and it didn't end well, they were probably at standard tier when they went out for the date and they were good friends and everything. They did have their reservations though, so they weren't in commitment at first. But I definitely think they were supposed to be together because they got together in the end, despite me not really being a big fan of Sam as a character. Don't mind the actor, just don't like the character of Sam, particularly in Cobra Kai. And as promised, I just realised I forgot someone I forgot a couple that I should have put on there, so I'll talk about them at the end. But Tori and Miguel was kind of a standard relationship. I don't think it was toxic. I do believe that Tori genuinely liked Miguel, and eventually Miguel genuinely liked Tori. The only issue was that Miguel really liked Sam more than he liked Tori, and he was never truly over Sam. I think when you have your first love, your first crush, you'll never truly get over them, and that's the issue with Miguel. And they had fun together, Tori and Miguel, but really Tori was just Miguel's rebound and just his filler between not being with Sam and getting back with Sam again in the end. That's really all Tori was to Miguel. So realistically, we could put it in the toxic and mutual tier, because in a way Miguel, not intentionally really and not in a malicious way, but he definitely kind of used Tori. Then there's Moon and Piper. and I'm just going to put them in standard purely because I have no idea how long they were really together for. Were they together for the entire summer? Were they together a few weeks after Moon and Eli broke up? And you just don't see enough of the relationship to really know ins and outs and how good they were to each other. It didn't seem like they ended on bad terms because Moon didn't seem angry when she told Johnny about Piper and recruiting her for Cobra Kai in season 4. Sam and Robbie, again, if there were, I should have really made a tier between standard and toxic and unmutual. That would have been where both Tori and Miguel would have been, and Sam and Robbie would have been. But again, I don't think Sam really liked Robbie. I think Robbie definitely liked Sam from the first time he saw her, the same way how Tori always had a thing for Miguel, but he never really truly got over, well no, Sam never really truly got over Miguel, Miguel never truly got over Sam, and that meant that she was never ready to fully commit to the relationship, and neither was Miguel or Tori. So I guess you could put it in toxic and mutual, but you could also definitely put it in standard purely because Sam and Robbie were definitely always good friends, and they even become friends later. Whereas Tori, I'm not sure if in season 5 she sort of is friends with Miguel again when she decides she's not going to be in Cobra Kai anymore. But yeah, I'm going to keep them in standard. With Yasmin and Dimitri, it's kind of a relationship that started in a toxic and unmutual way. They were hiding from people that they were together. Yasmin was still calling him a freak and pretending that she was bullying him, but really, I think she started to like him when she got back from Paris and Dimitri started to kind of help her with the project and said, he said, you will never have to pay for another A again. It was kind of simp-like for Dimitri to say your parents will never have to pay for another A again, but it kind of paid off because it showed that he has something going for him, which is his academic ability. And obviously, when you have something going for you as a male, I don't want to generalize too much, but when you have something going for you to bring to the table in a relationship, it usually stands out and is attractive to the other person or potential other person in the relationship. And for that reason, they could potentially go on the commitment tier because they are kind of good friends. The reason why Sam and Miguel is in commitment and not in true love tier is because it's kind of an average of the relationships, and the same goes for Eli and Moon. I believe they would be in commitment tier now, but their previous relationship was kind of a more toxic and mutual ending, which is why it ends up in standard. The couple I forgot to add, as you probably know, and I probably would have been hounded in the comments if enough people watch this video, is why didn't you add Tori and Robbie? And I realised I just completely forgot about Tori and Robbie, that's why I didn't add them. But they didn't have a toxic end, they're still together, and they definitely bonded, and they were kind of both victims of being used, and they used that to kindle a relationship, especially when they were on probation and saw more of each other. They became closer and closer, and then after going to prom, it became a real thing. For that reason, although the card is not here, and if any of you guys want to try doing this tier list yourself, if you want to make it as a video or you just want to do it in your own time, I will leave a link in the description, but if you can edit, I will add a new card for Tori and Robbie, but they would be in the commitment tier. And that is all of the couples for Cobra Kai. I hope if you are celebrating Valentine's Day, you've got a significant other, that you have a great time, you and whoever you're with. If you are single, then I'll play the clip that I made a short of.
If you got something worth biting, eventually the fish will find you. Just have to be patient.
But yeah, don't worry. It will eventually, if it's what you want and you want a relationship, I'm sure it will happen when the time is right. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you leave it a like and share it with anyone who you think you'd enjoy and who would find it entertaining. But yeah, just let me know if you like these videos or not, and I'll try and make more of them in the future. It's been your main man ManiZach, and remember to stay amazing, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Ugly, she thinks I look like Dudley. Never thought this could be funny. Drinking tea, but it's not sunny. She thinks I'm ugly. She thinks I look like Dudley. Never thought this could be funny. Drinking tea.